Okay, so I figure, this is the format for now, especially how current things, how I'm moving, just in personal life. I feel like that, of course, being that this is the format, I feel like, a couple of topics such as this one, I feel like, I definitely can get, if not now, I feel like the best opportunity is for that. And I feel like I should go down the line. And what I find is not prevalent. What made wrestling, what we know, what when it comes to the WWE today. If it not, it doesn't, because how popular and how global it is. Especially how one man took it, and Vince McMahon took it to new strengths. Yeah, like just things that are not, that made professional wrestling popular in the first place, at least to the mainstream, to pop culture. And I feel like and I just, and aside from that, also, yeah, just when it comes to professional wrestlers, I feel like I had to put a hyphen on that, wrestlers. But yeah, like individual, or just like I said, because I want to start with an individual who I feel like, definitely, especially too. I mean, it's not like, yeah, it's just the entire industry around her represents what I'm trying to put across, and as far as like underline and a point here. But yeah, like I feel like we need to start in that certain context. I feel like, especially in this series, I feel like we need to start with Rhea Ripley, and not just all, but just as an individual wrestler, because also not to only be here for a while, but I do, let's say, I don't care, because I do want to be here and talk for a little bit when it comes to Rhea Ripley, to really get across what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I like that. Like, yeah, I feel like Rhea Ripley, especially, yeah, like WWE has or it's officially, or they've just ruined Rhea Ripley. As far as it hit a road, a stagnant. And the reason why I say that is, it's no doubt. Come on now. Whether you like her, of course, whether you like the person or not, whether it has to do with, because of course we also want to talk a little bit about the personal life here also, because it also, yeah, I'm not just overall wrestler, not just her itself, but it overshadows the industry. It overshadows the wrestlers, the people who are in charge, and it just overshadows the industry itself. Instead about the talent, it's more so about behind the scenes, and that's a problem. And not to went off a little tangent there, just but still, I like to really, at least be bold and put my explaining into basically a speech, paragraphs, to really get the understanding. Well, it's like, yeah, and I look at it too. Rhea Ripley, of course, the exact date, but Rhea Ripley came onto the scene. Of course, she was, of course, being in NXT, and I can only assume, when it came to in the late 2010s of that generation, where professional wrestling by that point, especially WWE, what the industry itself was shifting in a point to, of course, how we see it today, when it's all about even more so about the indie work rate. And yeah, of course, coming up in NXT, and then yeah, officially coming to the roster in 2021. Is that correct? Yeah. Sorry, I just want to make sure. Yeah, if I believe her, like, coming across the roster. Damn it. Yeah, I think I thought I had it here. God damn it. Yeah, my apologies for that. But so yeah, like of course after going through NXT and all that, yeah, she officially came across the roster back in March of 2022 of 2021, and seeing that she's pretty much, yeah. I mean, she's around my age pretty much. I'm like 1 year older than her. She's like, yeah, 28 years old. 28 years old, and I feel like, yeah, I'm guessing she debuted, yeah, probably like when she was like 2020, like when she was 25. Yeah. Yeah. When she like first debuted on the main roster, and then I mean, she's, yeah, of course, still a whole lot of career ahead of her. And you know what? I didn't really pay attention beyond that too, because like I said, I was like, I had become, where I was at that, of course, at that point, pretty much done not only WWE, but professional wrestling to begin with. But yeah, I like, obviously too, like, of course, like I said, she had a bit of a journey there, but then like came 2022, of course. And this is what I really started. Of course, I'm pretty sure everybody else also too. But like, really, people will. This is like, yeah, of course. This is when like the spotlight was shined on Rhea Ripley. You could say the same about somebody like a Bianca Belair also as well. And she, yeah, like when she joined the Judgment Day, and that's when Edge was still with WWE, and that whole thing came up. This is where I also too, of course. I mean, I feel like this is where she got, of course. I mean, obviously her personality, and at least a lot more confidence, and really like, yeah, who we really know now as Rhea Ripley, and came into pretty much her own. Pretty much her own personality, her own being, into what makes Rhea Ripley. And yeah, being a part of Judgment Day, her joining Judgment Day really did wonders for her, because I feel like, yeah, I mean, you can go back to, because, yeah, I mean, it really, it has her, because it has her to one of the top stars today. I mean, I feel like, especially, yeah, you could tell. I mean, she got a lot more confidence, a lot more charisma and character to really establish who this person is. And I am, yeah, because I really, even to this day, because I really don't like, which also really pisses me off, the fact that, also when it comes, because of course Vince could, he was still running, this also could have a point to where, I mean, like, he was, because he was still there even months before he officially, of course, everything what happened with Janelle Grant, his retirement. But like, yeah, I mean, of course, I don't know if you heard, even though it's still like a little while ago, but of course, which is why, Edge having the problems with, backstage and creative, which is why he's in AEW right now. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, not probably, like, I feel like if it probably would kind of turn out, all right, we got a little different face when it came to Judgment Day, but I feel like I really would have loved to see Edge still be there, because what if we could have, like, he definitely could have given a lot of more knowledge. He definitely could have given not just that group as a whole, but like, and expand in itself, but like, especially to someone like a Rhea Ripley, and really set forth who she could really become as, and really get how the industry works in the first place. But of course, I mean, seeing that who's in charge today, and who also desperately tries to cater and really tries to be, to try to, to really try to put themselves in the spotlight as if, and try to cater to a certain crowd that prefers when it comes to the in-ring wrestling. I mean, of course, I mean, we have today. Well, and it's like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like, she definitely, like I said, I feel like where she definitely peaked with Judgment Day, and then when you get to, of course, you get, of course, Edge leaving and everything like that, up to the point where I still, of course, you saw the cracks. Yeah, Judgment Day was pretty much really, it's especially what it is today, which was supposed to be like a kind of like supernatural, like Undertaker and Kane, like that, turned into a kind of like a thug, like a delinquent type of entity, instead of it being supernatural. Which, yeah, like I said, Edge being that he's in AEW now, didn't really agree with that. And it's like I said, it sucks. What we could really could have solved a division there. And like I say, of course, immediately Judgment Day started to crack, and it wasn't worth the shit, even before even a year in, you know. And I feel like that, definitely, if it peaked already, it definitely came to a rocket ship. Of course, all that where she had, because up to this day too, her best match, her greatest, pretty much the greatest match of her career, the best match of her career. Well, as far as we're concerned, up until now is her match with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39, right? Yeah. It's her match with Charlotte at WrestleMania 39, and for the women's WWE women's title, and that was her her greatest performance up until that point, and where you see and we start to see who Rhea Ripley. I mean, this is Rhea Ripley. She's one, if not arguably, just the top women of the women's division, and as it still goes on right now, because as I start, because this is where I start to really go into, because up until that, because like I said, of course, you could see the popularity, off the just purely of her being able to go viral and really just able to have a much more gating with the audience, much more engaging with the audience. I mean, she's really popular. She is the top of the women's division. I mean, what more can you say? But what really gets my gears too is I mean, beyond that point, especially too, because what you could say this year too, especially, definitely the poorest year that WWE's had. And the PG era was bad, but I would rather be there than what the fuck we're going through right now, because I mean, it is terrible right now. And fanboy, of course, like I said, obviously fanboys aside and whatever, and WWE propaganda, unless you want to hear them, because they'll make you feel it's sunshine and rainbows and peaches and cream. It's just, Rhea Ripley, it's just has to, but Rhea Ripley, her character, I feel is kind of let's say, I feel not that of course there's anything bad with her character, but like I said, overall, it feels of course, we've hit that point to where, I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, what, we should be looking at, what we should be doing. And this is where I get into where I feel instead of improving upon her character, giving us to really, just focusing on evolving and all those other areas, instead of doing that, I mean, she even I see this year or two, of course, I mean, she's what she has to be, is very active on social media. It's pretty much every notable wrestler, right? That is, and I mean, she says stuff that really that's just. Yeah, of course, like I said, because she also has that audience. She wants to appeal to that crowd as if she's, of course, it's this as if she's this feminist icon that is doing such grandest thing. Look, all right, like I said, I will say glad myself, because I've also, especially the person that I continue to grow to be much more, am glad for the women's wrestling and where they are. But but you can't tell yourself, I mean, and make it believe as if you're this feminist icon if you participate in this, in that you also yourself, Rhea Ripley herself, participates in this erratic behavior, in such a behavior, you contribute and you further perpetuate the narrative, yeah, that women, that yeah, when it comes to the sexualization of women. I mean, and you already know what I say that you pretty much already know where I'm going there, whether you like it or not. Because I mean, these fanboys, of course, these weebs and all that, they can pretend it's up. But I mean, you can just go to social media and because they expose themselves 24/7. It's just the fact that now that of course, the fact that now that how you pretty much are next door, the fact that you pretty much can reach out to the person that you are infatuated with, obsessed with, like somebody like a Rhea Ripley. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you want to get on your white horse and be that white knight in shining armor when, yeah, like it's like as if this is some fairy tale. But but you could if you go right through that door, turn around and open up that door, you can see them salivating. Like you can do apparently what I like to put myself in this context. Like, oh, of course they like to call us the creeps, because just because I want a little sexy in my wrestling and I prefer that's what it comes to standards. I get when it comes to something like being too much of something, but still. But like I said, turn around and you look at them and they're doing the most. Yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, and it's very obvious that no, like they're the ones that these few women wrestlers should be on the lookout for. They should be protecting should be protecting their lives every step of the way. It should be cautious because these people are fucking psychopaths. But I don't want to get too far off into that, just straying along with what we're actually really here for. But yeah, because that just goes along into, because that's the type of presence that Rhea Ripley has on social media and what she appeals to. And like I said, wants to, go out and protect. Like I said, we all have our beliefs and everything. We pretty much want the same thing. But I say it comes to that because just one of those things that pisses me off and really gets because yeah, you're pulling a smoke and mirrors. You're not really, of course, the classic. You're not really preaching what you practice. And yeah, I feel like that's where because I said she's just like every these wrestlers that hop on social media, especially specifically like a Ricochet, that hops on social media, and when somebody takes her off, she's like, yeah, I mean she completely just completely acts unprofessional, and pretty much goes into it. And it's that overshadows. I feel like at a point that and I was really telling of this year that she's done a lot of that, and that's really overshadowed her as a performer. And what I feel that's of course, it's just not just and also I said people like Triple H, they also support, they also instigate and put on this narrative. Because they also, even though when that's not, because you can look at WWE's history and look at the shit. Come on now, I mean, it's laughable. You're it's the same with WWE, and people like Triple H that are put in these positions. Come on, you put over a company like WWE that had content that showed as what as far as as they presented women. Specifically, of course, specifically in the attitude, specifically in periods or timelines when you talk about, or just simply, divas and how, of course, just were the most sexualization, the 90s and the early 2000s, where divas, you can really go to WCW and ECW too, where were just a very just over graphic and aggressive of women being showcased. Just in the most sexual gratification and degrading in the possible way. And don't get me wrong, I said because I said where I feel not do I have a problem with this, but which I also because there can also be but I say you talk about, you look at a company like WWE and how they like to protect have and pretend that they have this character and lie that there's so much about this when it comes to the women. And how they're so much far up the ass of the women when when you get to all actuality, And when you watch the content, and you can see very far that that's not the case at all, and that this is just it's just one of the many fronts that they like to put on. But yeah, like what, yeah, Rhea Ripley is like, and yeah, I mean, as far as that, because it's all about, it's more so all about, of course, what the suits want and the sponsors want, more so about it than it's about the product itself, and that's affected the entire, like the entire mentality of it all. And it's like, how can you, because yeah, like it's like, yeah, up until this point where I feel like, yeah, like it's pretty much like, just not just, of course, I mean, this is bigger than that too, because like everything overall in WWE, where you get to this point now, to, of course, I said currently, where I said, yeah, it's just like everything else instead of the actual product, in this case specifically money, is more, you know, prevalent over the product, the content itself. And nothing is improved. Nothing is really shown to us, the audience, with the fans, that the community, that WWE is actually at its best, when we just, like I said, it's not. And that's where I feel like, yeah, it's just, or as far as like my point about Rhea Ripley, it's just, yeah, like, it's pretty much like everything else. It's stagnant, and not in a way, it's like, of not just the wrestler itself, but yeah, I mean, it's overall. It's really it's part of a bigger picture, because you look at the environment, and of course, no wonder Rhea Ripley is as stagnant, or in a place to where, I mean, wow, like, yeah, I mean, look at where Rhea Ripley used to be, some like years ago, and you look at now to where it's like, well, I mean, what's going on? She's pretty much a mascot, and not that that's a problem, but it's like you have to, yeah, I mean, you have to give me what I'm paying for. I want, I want what I pay for. I want the worth out of it, and I'm not getting the worth out of a Rhea Ripley, what I feel like, compared to what her performance was years ago and up until now. Yeah, it's very, very simple.